Come all of us, come all of you, and bless the one who blesses. Come all of you, come all of us, and bless the one who blesses. Do 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 do. Blessed is the blessed one. Blessed is the giver of blessing. Blessed is this moment now and every now to come. Blessed is the blessed one. Blessed is the giver of blessing. Blessed is this moment now and every now to come. Come all of you, come all of us, and bless the one who blesses. Come all of you, come all of us, and bless the one who blesses. Same thing last time. Tomorrow or Sunday night, we'll be using the New Reform Movement's Haggadah called Mishkan HaSeder, and it's set up very much like our prayer book with the traditional readings on the right side and creative poetry on the left side. So I thought I'd start with a Passover style poem to get us in the mood for this upcoming holiday. It's called Passover Miracle. And it's by Merle Feld, who I had the honor of studying with this year. So that was very nice. That we find our spring selves again, shed the thick protective layers of winter that shield but separate us from the world out there. We sit at the Seder table, tired, yes, from all the work of preparation, but hoping to be refreshed. Hoping in spirit to be refreshed. Sitting at the Seder table, we encounter our younger selves, wide-eyed, asking questions. We become each year once again the four sons, daughters, childlike, spring-like, ready each year once again to go out from Egypt with nothing but a pack on our back, ready to walk once again out into the wilderness in search of our freedom and our God. So we turn now to page 120 for our candle lighting. Oh, hear my prayer, I sing to you. Be gracious to the ones I love and bless them with goodness and mercy and peace. Oh, hear my prayer to you. Baruch atah Adonai Eloheinu melech haolam asher kiddushanu b'mitzvotav v'tzivanu lahadlik ner shel Shabbat.
Baruch atah Adonai, Eloheinu melech haolam, asher kiddushanu b'mitzvotav, v'tzivanu lehadlik ner shel Shabbat. Amen. Let us light these lights and see the way to you, and let us say Amen. Let us light these lights and see the way to you, and let us say Amen.
We turn to page 127. We offer thanks, O God, for this Shabbat, which unites us in faith and hope, for Shabbat holiness, which inspires sacred living, for Shabbat memories glowing even in the darkness, for Shabbat peace born of friendship and love. We offer thanks and blessing, O God. We turn to page 138 for Lecha Dodi, and we'll give you a cue to rise on the last verse.
Lecha Dodi, Lekrat Kala, B'nei Shabbat, Nikha Beila. Lecha Dodi, Lekrat Kala, B'nei Shabbat, Nikha Beila. Shamor v'zachor b'dibur echad, ishmianu el hamichad, Adonai echad u'shmo echad, L'shem u'tiferet v'litfilah. Lecha Dodi, Likrat Kala, B'nei Shabbat, Nikha Beila. Lecha Dodi, Likrat Kala, B'nei Shabbat, Nikha Beila. Hitoreri, Hitoreri, Kiva Ore, Kuri Uri, Uri Uri, Shida Beri, Kevod Adonai, Alai Nila, Lecha Dodi, Likrat Kala, B'nei Shabbat, Nikha Beila. Lecha Dodi, Likrat Kala, B'nei Shabbat, Nikha Beila. And now we rise to greet the Sabbath bride. Boi לשלום, עטרת בלון, גם בשמחה ובסולון, תוך אמוני עם סגולה. בואי חלה, בואי חלה, Lecha Dodi, Likrat Kala, B'nei Shabbat, Nikha Beila. Lecha Dodi, Likrat Kala, B'nei Shabbat, Nikha
We turn to page 146 as we remain standing for the Baruch Hu.
Baruch Hu et Adonai HaMevorach, Baruch Adonai HaMevorach, Le'olam Vaed.
Page 148, Ma'ariv Aravim.
Baruch atah Adonai Eloheinu melech haolam asher bidbaro ma'ariv aravim. Baruch atah Adonai Eloheinu melech haolam asher bidbaro ma'ariv aravim. You're muted. Yeah.
I was not here for a second. Okay, on page 150, add my spotlight. Everlasting love, you offered your people Israel by teaching us Torah and mitzvot, laws and precepts. Therefore, Adonai our God, when we lie down and when we rise up, we will meditate on your laws and your commandments. We will rejoice in your Torah forever. Day and night we will reflect on them, for they are our life, and doing them lengthens our days. Never remove your love from us. Praise to you, Adonai, who loves your people Israel. Baruch atah Adonai ohev amo Yisrael. The Shema, page 152.
Shema Yisrael, Adonai Eloheinu, Adonai Echad, Baruch Shem, Kevod Malchuto, Leolam Vaed.
Please be seated as we continue together in the Hebrew with the V'ahavta. V'ahavta et Adonai Elohecha b'chol levavcha u'b'chol nafshecha u'b'chol meodecha. V'hayu hadvarim ha'ela asher anochi mitzavcha hayom al levavecha. V'shinantan levanecha v'dibarta bam. V'shivtecha b'veitecha u'vlechtecha v'derech u'shachbecha u'vkumecha. Ukshartam le'ot al yadecha, v'hayu letotafot bein einecha. Uktavtam al mezuzot beitecha uvisharecha. Lema'an tizkaru va'asitem et kol mitzvotai, v'tem kedoshim le'elohechem. Ani Adonai Elohechem. Asher hotzeti etchem me'eretz Mitzrayim, lehiyot lachem le'elohim. Ani Adonai Elohechem. And just the end. I am Adonai, your God, who brought you out of the land of Egypt to be your God. I am Adonai. Adonai Elohechem Emet. And we turn to page 157. And instead of our usual reading, we're going to do a musical introduction for Mi Chamocha. You're muted.
Let's try that again. Stepping on the parted shores of history, we still believe what we were taught. Before ever we
love that. Wow.
Did it clear up a little after the beginning?
Yep.
Okay.
Oh, how beautiful. And was that you and you singing, or was that you and
was me and me, my favorite duet partner other than Jody.
Gorgeous. And that takes us right into Micha Mocha, the song of liberation, so perfect for this upcoming holiday as we got to the other side of the Red Sea. So we have a special Micha Mocha on page 158 for tonight.
So the melody that I am using is from Adir Hu, which is one of the traditional melodies sung during Pesach. And Micha Mocha is one of those liturgical pieces that we like to set to music that is indicative of the holiday or the Chag that we're celebrating. So here we go. Micha Mocha Bailim Adonai, Micha Mocha, Nedar Bakodesh, Nora, Tehilot, Osef Elef, Malchutecha Ra'uvanecha, Bokea Yam Livnei Moshe, Zelianu ve'ameru Adonai imloch leolam vaed. V'ne'emar ki fara Adonai et Yaakov u'galeo me'ad chazach mimenu. Baruch atah Adonai Ga'al Yisrael.
Page 161. Let there be love and understanding among us. Let peace and friendship be our shelter from life's storms. Adonai, help us to walk with good companions, to live with hope in our hearts and eternity in our thoughts, that we may lie down in peace and rise up, waiting to do your will. Baruch atah Adonai hapores sukat shalom aleinu v'al kol amo Yisrael v'al Yerushalayim. And we have Vishamru, page 162.
If you could just take a moment to say something lovely about Vishamru. I just need a second.
Well, morning. And when we were doing yoga, one of the poses in yoga is Shavasana. And we had done some pretty hard work getting to that point. And when you're doing a practice like yoga, you think that the main point is doing the poses and the breathing and moving and getting through them and twisting and turning. But actually, Shavasana, that moment of rest, is what you do all that work for. So that all of a sudden you can lie there and your body's more open and the prana, the energy, the chai, the life force can flow. And I think Shabbat, which Vishamru is all about, is very similar. That we think the important part of our week are the 6 days when we're running around and producing and creating and destroying and busy. But if we could think to do all those things so that we get to enjoy our Shabbat, our rest, that's when all of it can settle in and find the right place and let us be fully whole and complete. So that is what I wish for you on this Shabbat.
See how good she is at extemporaneous speaking? I just threw that at her. She caught it like a pro. Veshamru B'nei Yisrael et HaShabbat La'asot et HaShabbat Ledorotam berit olam Beini uvein B'nei Yisrael Oti leolam Oti leolam Veshamru B'nei Yisrael et HaShabbat לעשות את השבת לדורותם ברית עולם. כי ששת ימים עשה אדוני את השמיים ואת הארץ. ושמרו בני ישראל את השבת לעשות את השבת לדורותם ברית עולם. וביום השביעי שבת וינפש, שבת וינפש, שבת וינפש. ושמרו בני ישראל את השבת לעשות את השבת לדורותם ברית עולם.
And we turn to page 166 as we rise for the Amidah. If you can physically rise, do so. If it's more comfortable to just lift your spirits, do that. I am hoping while we are praying, I do not literally blow away or my house doesn't blow away. So I hope you all are safe, but I keep hearing windows rattling.
Baruch atah Adonai, Eloheinu Belohei Avotenu v'Imotenu, Elohei Abraham, Elohei Yitzchak, Belohei Yaakov, Elohei Sarah, Elohei Rivka, Elohei Rachel, Elohei Leah, Ha'el Hagadol Hagibor B'Hanodra, El Elyon, Gomel Chasadim Tovim V'Konei HaKol, V'Zocher Chasdei Avot V'Yamahot, ומביא גאולה לבני בניהם, למען שמו באהבה, מלך עוזר ומושיע ומגן. ברוך אתה אדוני, מגן אברהם בעזרת שרה. אתה גיבור לעולם אדוני, מחיי הכל אתה רב להושיע. מכלכל חיים בחסד, מחיי הכל ברחמים רבים, סומך נופלים ברופא חולים, ומתיר אסורים, ומקיים אמונתו לשני עפר. מי כמוך בעל גבורות, ומידו מלוך, מלך ממית ומחיה, ומצמיח ישועה, ונאמן אתה להחיות הכל. ברוך אתה אדוני, מחיי הכל. That sounded like an apple. What was that?
Nope.
No.
Nope, they're not. I don't see them.
No, I sounded like somebody bit into an apple.
I don't know. We are on page 171. Where might I go to find you, exalted hidden one? Yet where would I not go to find you, ever-present, eternal one? My heart cries out to you, please draw near to me. The moment I reach out for you, I find you reaching in for me. Baruch atah Adonai ha'el hakadosh. Please be seated. And on page 173. May these hours of rest and renewal open our hearts to joy and our minds to truth. May all who struggle find rest on this day. May all who suffer find solace. May all who hurt find healing on this day. May all who despair find purpose. May all who hunger find fulfillment on this day. And may this day fulfill its promise. Baruch atah Adonai, Mikadesh HaShabbat. We turn to page 175 for Ritzay. As you unmute, Cantor.
Say Adonai Eloheinu Me'amecha Yisrael U'tefilatam Be'ahavat Tekabil. Humble in prayer we seek to reach you, hoping to be heard. Hearts open wide, longing to be true. Oh, let us know that you are near. Open our hearts that we may hear the still voice within us all. May we be worthy in our prayer. Feel your presence everywhere. May we answer when you call. Say Adonai Eloheinu Me'amecha Yisrael U'tefilatam Be'ahavat Tekabil. Oh, let us know that you are near. Open our hearts so we may hear the still clear voice within us all. May we be worthy in our prayer. Feel your presence everywhere. May we answer when you call. May you answer when we call. Say Adonai Eloheinu. Say Adonai Eloheinu.
How lovely. So as we go to our Modim, our thank you prayer, I want to jump ahead because in my sermon this evening, we're going to talk about ways to make your Seder more transformative and more interactive. And one of those ways is to engage with the themes of the holiday. So we're all familiar with Dayenu. If you had given us the Torah, it would have been enough. If you had given us Shabbat, it would have been enough. If you had taken us out of Egypt, it would have been enough. And there are a whole bunch of other ones too. Those are the three most famous. And we say Dayenu, it would have been enough. So in the chat, I invite you to answer one or two questions. Northwestern Hillel says something you are deeply grateful for. And American Jewish World Service says, when do we say Dayenu, that we have enough? And I think this year we really reevaluated what's enough. So take a moment in the chat and type something you're grateful for, that it really was enough and it filled your heart, or some other way that you feel a sense of Dayenu, enoughness. This is participatory. And while you're doing that, when we behold your heavens, the work of your fingers, the moon and stars that you set in place, what are we humans that you are mindful of us? We mortals that you take note of us, that you made us a little less than divine, adorned us with glory and majesty. You gave us dominion over your handiwork, laying the world at our feet. How majestic is your name throughout the earth. Baruch atah Adonai hatov shimcha lecha na'eh lehodot. Thank you, Lori. Thank you, Brian. Thank you, Ellen. So take a look at the things in our chat. One was direct to me about family and friends and Temple being able to connect via Zoom. And if something comes to you, just add it, especially if you put Dayenu in, we'll know exactly what you mean. We pray for peace. We pray for peace. Shalom Rav, page 178.
I'm just finishing my participation.
Oh, thank you. Oh, we're getting more and more. Thank you.
Okay. Shalom Rav, HaYisrael Tasim Leolam. Shalom Rav, HaYisrael Tasim Leolam. Yatahu Melech Adon Lechol HaShalom. Yatahu Melech Adon Lechol HaShalom. Shalom Rav, HaYisrael Tasim Leolam. Shalom Rav, HaYisrael Tasim Leolam. V'tov beinecha levarech et amcha Yisrael b'chol leil ub'chol sha'ah b'shlomecha. Shalom Rav, HaYisrael Tasim Leolam. Shalom Rav, HaYisrael Tasim Leolam. Tasim Leolam. Tasim Leolam.
We now take a few moments for silent prayer and reflection, and I hope a sense of Dayenu, a sense of being full and feeling a sense of enough.
Ose shalom bimroma, uyase shalom aleinu ve'alkol Yisrael ve'yoshvei tevel v'yimeru amen. V'yimeru amen. V'yimeru amen. V'yimeru amen.
some such beautiful melodies tonight, Cantor. You're in such beautiful voice. Sounds great. I'm loving what people are saying in the chat. Really beautiful. So if you haven't read them, I highly recommend it. Maxine's writing about the special program at the White House last night that Doug Emhoff, I guess, ran, which is pretty amazing. And I was sorry I missed it. I have to look it up on YouTube and hope that it was recorded. So I've been really thinking about this push and pull, that Judaism often feels like it's out there. It's something that we have to do, and we have to do it a certain way. But Judaism is not going to be transformative for us unless we bring it inside, unless we take the themes of the prayers and make them personal, unless we take the themes of the Seder, of the Haggadah, and incorporate them into real life situations that touch our souls. The idea is that religion transforms us, that it helps us reach our highest good, our best selves. Reform Judaism is actually pretty good at this. By moving away from an adherence to the letter of the law, which for Passover might mean a 4-hour Seder in Hebrew, saying every single word, or not eating until all the rituals have been done, not moving some snacks earlier into the Seder, or just children sitting quietly through the service. As Reformed Jews, we try very hard to bring each participant into the service in a meaningful way and capture the spirit of the law. Now, all branches of Judaism are lucky on Passover because some of this is built into the Seder. The 4 questions, putting something unusual on the table, or eating foods in a different way to inspire the 4 questions. The Afikomen, having different people read as you go around the Haggadah, as you go around the table, or reading the 4 children. The way it's done, you can't help but identify with one, the wise, the wicked, the simple, the one who doesn't know how to ask. It calls for you to put yourself into the story. Who am I this year, this Passover, or which combination am I today? So my question for tonight is, how can we make Passover truly meaningful this year? So I'd like to suggest that you ask some COVID-related questions. We've lived through this year. To ignore it and say this year was just like any other isn't going to be a way to help us connect. Instead, let's take whatever happened in this past year and try to process it through the Seder. People will participate at your Seder if you ask the right questions. I'm going to give a whole list of suggestions. Some are participatory and some you can just do. And I don't recommend doing all of them. Pick 1 or 2, and as you're listening, maybe even jot them down so you can remember, although I could send this out after services. And think about ways that you can make this experience more meaningful for everyone at your table. Some of these ideas are from a study group I'm in with my friends, Rabbi Howard Shapiro and Rabbi Marcia Plum. So I want to give them some credit. One is to light a yurtzeit candle at the Seder table. And light it for the almost 3 million people worldwide who've died from the coronavirus. And if you knew one of those, it's 2,750,000 plus people. That was today. If you knew one of these people personally, or it was a family member, take this moment as you light the candle to tell a story about them. Maybe you have a Passover memory connected with them, or maybe it's just a general story. Bring them, invite them into your Seder. And you can also bring in other friends and family in that moment who are no longer with us, but who we want to celebrate the holiday with. Additionally, there is a custom of adding, I had something else right here. I'm sure I have it later. A custom of adding things to the Seder table. An orange for women's rights, and sometimes it's used to represent the LGBTQ plus community, of inclusion, of bringing in the unusual or people that have seemed out of Judaism and bringing them in. Putting a tomato on the Seder plate for the rights of farm workers, or putting an olive on the Seder plate for Middle East peace between Israelis and Palestinians. So the question that you can ask beforehand and add something to the Seder, or maybe you'll want to ask everyone at your Seder, is what should we add to the table this year? What should we add to the Seder plate? What do we need to do to symbolize someone who's still oppressed? Maybe we'll put a mask on the Seder table to symbolize how we've been kept apart, how we've been enslaved in our homes, but also to symbolize how we've been liberated. Wearing a mask allows us to go out into the world. Wearing a mask allows us to perform the mitzvah of pikuach nefesh, saving a life. So just like the matzah, which is the bread of affliction, but also the bread they took as they left on their way to freedom, we can find symbolism in the mask. Think about who is still fighting for freedom today and needs to be represented at our Seder table. I'm currently reading The Color of Love by Mara B. Gad, and it's the story of a mixed race, Black and white, Jewish woman, and the ways she's been accepted into the Jewish community and the ways that she's been shunned. It's really making me stop and think about how do we include Jews of color at our table and in our community. What could you add to represent this struggle to be fully counted, that all Jewish people are fully counted at our Seder tables and in our synagogues? Or maybe the fight that's speaking to you is the general battle with racism that our country's facing. And what could you put on your Seder table to represent that we have so much work to do? Another beautiful idea is to use hand sanitizer instead of water when we do the ritual hand washing. A symbol of this year, a symbol of how hand washing has become central. Often that's just something you do in the Seder. You might not even do it both times. You might skip it completely, but make that more primary in your Seder. And think about the healthcare workers and others who've washed their hands raw this year, who've used so much hand sanitizer and so much disinfectant that they're constantly having chafed hands in an effort to be safe and keep others safe. There's a reading that expresses this similar thought that's connected to the karpas, the parsley that we dip in salt water. And it's from the American Jewish World Service. They have a lot of great Seder supplements. And it says, in the telling of the Passover story, we recount the oppression that our ancestors experienced when we were slaves in Egypt. We dip a growing vegetable, karpas, into salt water to taste their tears of grief mingled with our hopes for life, health, and renewal for a more just world. This year, the tears are ours. They are tears of the sick and their loved ones who worry or mourn. They are the tears of those who have lost their jobs, are uninsured, live in isolation, or must go to work each day to provide essential services to others. They're the tears of courageous healthcare workers who save lives and risk their own. We must acknowledge this pain and suffering and allow ourselves the space to grieve. Yet, as the karpas ritual beckons, we must also look toward the future with a sense of hope and possibility. Passover arrives on the precipice of spring, when new growth is just around the corner. All over the world, resilience, strength, compassion, and innovation will grow from under this tragedy. We honor the tears, but we also bless the hope. Raise the karpas and dip it in salt water and say the blessing which ends Borei Peri Ha'adamah. We praise God, the ruler of everything, who creates the fruits of the earth. And the ritual concludes, this Passover, may the brightness of our hope break through our tears and strengthen us in this moment together. And that can be found at American Jewish World Service Passover supplements. I thought that was beautiful. Another idea special for this year, as you remove the drops of wine from your cup and you recite the plagues, ask everyone which plague resonates most with them this year. Cattle disease, blood. We've been connected to so many different things.
No.
What has been your liberation this past year? What has gotten you through the plague that we lived through? Or as Northwestern Hillel suggests, we could talk about the matzah, that matzah is both the bread of affliction and the bread of freedom. And ask your guests to share a moment this year when they felt like a burden, the one that felt like a burden, and one that felt like a gift. A few more general ideas. This is the quintessential immigration story, leaving one place and going to another. So share some personal immigration stories that are true to the people at your table. And what I love about this, if you're telling a story about your great-grandmother, that could be someone else at the table's great-great-grandmother, even a couple more greats. And the story continues, and you personalize that we left Egypt, and we left Russia, and we left Spain, and we left, and we've moved and migrated, and we've survived through telling our own stories. I already shared the Dayenu idea, and you saw it worked beautifully, so try that at your Seder, whether it's on Zoom or in person. And there's also a beautiful reading on the Mazon, or several readings on the Mazon website that tie in nicely with Let All Who Are Hungry Come and Eat. And then you could do a reading about modern day hunger, about SNAP and food stamps, and then make a donation in honor of everyone at your Seder table to Mazon or to the Rudman Food Pantry, which you can do right through our Temple Beth Torah social action donation link. And we're doing that through Passover. And another idea I had was whatever you would have spent on a regular Passover when you would have had other people, or you would have brought a housewarming gift if you were invited to somebody else's Seder, maybe make a donation equal to that this year and help them make sure everyone can have Passover and everyone can have a meal every single day. And just one more. From the American Jewish World Service Haggadah, the American Jewish World Service sheet, they remind us the Haggadah concludes with a hopeful aspiration for the coming year, Lishana Haba'a B'Yerushalayim, next year in Jerusalem. What is your hope for your life and our collective future this year? What actions will you take into the year ahead to pursue justice for people around the world? What a beautiful way toward the end of the Seder to ask that question. I also recommend doing some of these questions after the meal, if you can get people to come back to your table, or after at least people have had a little bit of a nash. It goes a little better. Don't do all these things. Pick one or two that resonated with you and add them to your Seder. Save the rest for next year. Hopefully not the COVID ones, but some of the other ones. If you're not having a Seder this year, do some journaling or take a walk. And as you look at spring coming up, contemplate some of these themes and ideas so that you can make this Passover a meaningful one, a transformative one for you and the people at your table. And if you're joining us on Sunday night at 6 o'clock on Zoom, we hope that you'll enjoy doing a few of these ideas together. Azizim Pesach, a sweet Passover to you and yours from all of us in the Moskowitz, Applebaum, Wiesenberg households. In a moment, we'll turn to the Aleinu. So I'd like to share one more reading from Mishkan HaSeder. They pair it with Hallel, songs of praise, but I first learned this poem called The Merger Poem by Judy Chicago in connection with the Aleinu. And there's a beautiful melody to it as well, but we'll save that for another time. And then all that has divided us will merge. And then compassion will be wedded to power. And then softness will come to a world that is harsh and unkind. And then both men and women will be gentle, And then both women and men will be strong. And then no person will be subject to another's will. And then all will be rich and free and varied. And then the greed of some will give way to the needs of many. And then all will share equally in the earth's abundance. And then all will care for the sick and the weak and the old. And then all will nourish the young. And then all will cherish life's creatures. And then everywhere will be called Eden once again. We rise for the Aleinu on page 586.
Aleinu lishabeach ladon hakol, latet gdulai leotzer bereshit, shelo asanu kigoye haratzot, velo samanu kimishpachot hadama, shelo sam chelkenu kahem, vigor aleinu kechol hamonam, vanaknu korim, umishtachavim umodim, Livnei melech, malchei hamlachim, hakadosh baruch hu, v'nemar, v'haya Adonai, l'melech al kol haaretz, bayom hahu, yeh Adonai echad, u'shemo echad.
Page 598, the Mourner's Kaddish. We remember those who passed this week. Eric Ahrensweig, friend of Jeffrey Baker, and those for whom we're in the month of mourning, Florence Harari, grandmother of Mark Harari and Bonnie Millman, and Michael Bernstein, father of Len Bernstein and Felix Bernstein. And those whose yurtzites fall at this season, Jacob Adams, Larry Adler, Pauline Armstrong, Henry Arnberg, Beatrice Arshansky, Isidore Augustine, Sam Baker, Charles Bernbach, Charlie Block, Donald Bloomfield, Vivian Bogan, Adam Briller, Helene Brown, Mary DiGiovanna, Lawrence Gray, Philip Hart, Scott Holzer, David H. Kaplan, Janet Krausner, Jeannie Langberg, Jane Lazier, Michael Leifer, Irene Lowenbrown, Shirley Mestel, May Rashbaum, Selma Ruderman, Joseph Saltzman, Ishtar Silver, Anita Silverstein, Max Sokol, David Tilkin, and Hyman Young. And I see Stephen Levine and Leslie Palacino and John Leviton in our chat. And you can add any other names. And I'm reading that list, and I know that a handful of those people passed away just 1 year ago when we had that horrible rash of way too many passings. So I see some more names. We're thinking of them as well. And we join together in the Mourner's Kaddish. Yitzgadal v'yakadash shemei rabbah, v'yalma divrach hirutei v'yamlich malchutei, v'chayechon v'yomechon v'chayei d'chol beit Yisrael, v'galav v'zman kariv v'imru. Amen. Yehei shmei rabbah mevorak le'olam omei omaya, Yitbarak v'yishtabak v'yipa'ar v'yitramam v'yinaseh, v'yitadar v'yitaleh v'yitalal shmei d'kudashah b'ruchu. Leila min kol berchata v'shirata, tushbechata v'nechemata, damiram b'yalma v'imru. Amen. Yehi shlomo rabba min shemaya, v'chaim aleinu v'al kol Yisrael v'imru. Amen. Oseh shalom b'mromav, v'ya'aseh shalom, aleinu v'al kol Yisrael v'imru. Amen. May the source of peace send peace to all who mourn and comfort to all who are bereaved. Amen. Please be seated. As we turn to our healing prayers, our Mishaberach on page 371, we pray for healing for Joanne Sabato, who had some dental work, For Ari Moskowitz, who was diagnosed with COVID today over in Italy. He seems okay, though. Jeff Baker has had some surgery. Kenny Dietz, brother of Robin Locke. Jack Legros, father of Natasha Calixte. Brian Tolop, son of Leslie Tolop. Beth Roberts, sister of Lori Levy. Mitch Gelberg, friend of the Poliaks. Lauren Slater, sister-in-law of Linda Arnberg. Ellen Aronson, Michael Weinstein. David Jablon, dad of Jen Strow, is doing a little bit better. And Doreen Penchik, mother of Cindy Kaplan. Len Bernstein, who got some information today that hopefully will help get us on the right track with him. Jonathan Dillon Mossberg, Phyllis Belford, everyone else on our Mishaberak list and the names you've just added, Olga Leisman and Ray Ellison and Jerry Rodas, Scott Keller, Art Grodsky and Marty Eskin, Margot Nelson, Tracy Nelson, Joel Fishkin, Mickey Plass, Moshe Bennett, James Cunningham, and a couple more, Sharon Cooper. And I think Charlotte Osterwill was, I'm not sure which list that was. So let's hold all of them in our heart. And I might have suggested this last week, maybe even send them a text while we're praying that you are thinking of them and holding them in your heart, and that our whole congregation is praying for them. So we join with the cantor in the Mishaberach.
Mishaberach Avotenu Mikor Bracha Leimotenu. May the source of strength, who bless the ones before us, help us find the courage to make our lives a blessing, and let us say Amen. Mishaberach imotenu Mikor bracha lavotenu. Bless those in need of healing with refuah shlema, the renewal of body, the renewal of spirit, and let us say Amen.
Amen va'amen, a refuah shlema. And I didn't actually mean to leave out the Kiddush, so we'll go back to that on page 122 and 123, and we'll join with the cantor in the Kiddush.
Baruch atah Adonai Eloheinu melech haolam, borei peri hagafen. Baruch atah Adonai Eloheinu melech haolam, asher kiddushanu b'mitzvotav v'ratzavanu. B'shabbat kodsho b'ahava uvratzon hinchilanu, zikaron l'maseh v'reishit, ki hu yom tehila l'mikra'e kodesh, zecher l'tziat Mitzrayim. Kivanu v'acharta ve'otanu kidashta mikol ha'amim v'shabbat kodshecha be'ahava uvratzon hinchaltanu. Baruch atah Adonai Mikadesh HaShabbat. Amen. L'chaim.
L'chaim. How beautiful. All right. Do we have any birthdays or anniversaries? I have to look at the end of my March list real quickly. let's see. Joni Spielman, are you on? Or Spielberg, I mean. Okay. Gabby Briller, I'm not sure if you're here, but happy birthday. Let me go back to this so I can see people. Anybody else got anything to celebrate this week?
We do.
Happy anniversary.
Yes, number 36 this Wednesday.
Ooh, lucky number.
Yeah. It's my grandson Matthew's 19th birthday today.
Yay.
Mazel tov. That's wonderful.
Thank you.
That's great, Barbara. Anybody else birthday, anniversary? We don't even have an anniversary list for March. Oh, this is it. Oh, the Atkinsons right there at the bottom of the month. Well, then we need a wonderful Shehechianu.
We kind of got Baruch atah Adonai Eloheinu melech haolam shehechianu v'kiyamanu v'higianu lazman hazeh. Amen. Mazel tov. When it's your 36th anniversary, you don't have to mute yourself. It's okay.
I muted them because they were today, but we love them and we love their singing and everything. And actually, before I call on Brian, Jeff and Wendy have been spearheading a wonderful project for Temple Beth Torah, which is called, we're not sure what it's going to be called, but it's a village project. And if you're between the ages of 60 and 80, you will be getting an email about it. And it was also in the ARC. And the ARC came out digitally. You can go to the website or find your email and read about all the wonderful things going on at Temple Beth Torah. And please take a look at it. It really will bring you up to date on what's going on. But the village is coming. The village is coming. And it's really a different concept. It's grassroots programming for people by people to help give purpose and meaning, to help make active adulthood fun, to help make our temple and Dix Hills Jewish Center. We're coming together for this village, so it's a separate entity. A thriving, exciting part of our lives. So it's really new. It's getting off on the ground floor. If you are interested in being in a focus group to help make it happen or to get involved in the leadership, reach out to Jeff and Wendy, and you could even private message them right now, and they'll get in touch with you, because we want this to be fun, to be meaningful, to be interesting. And every time we get together in the preliminary groups, like new ideas come out, how people would enjoy doing this or enjoy doing that. So right now it's called the Village or Village 495. We're working on a name for it. And it's really going to be something special and spectacular. And we were selected by UJA as a thriving community to make this happen. And we're part of a national movement. So really exciting. I'm going to add Brian, if you will unmute and say, oh, I got you. Probably don't unmute yet. I'm going to spotlight you. And I hear you have some announcements for us.
I do. First, Mazel Tov, double chai for the Atkinsons. That's great. And thank you for heading up our unnamed village project. It does sound exciting. And Rabbi, thank you. Shabbat Shalom all. Rabbi, thank you for those great suggestions and kind words about what to do for our Seder. And I love the duality of the symbols, like the mask, where it could be a symbol of how we blocked out the world and how we couldn't see each other as fully as we had before. But it's also a symbol of freedom and gave us an opportunity to leave the home and to be around each other safely and protect ourselves and protect each other. So I love that. And Cantor, thank you for your most beautiful solo duet. There is a lot going on at Temple, and I challenge you to listen to what I'm saying and be unable to find something that interests you or something that you're going to want to get involved with. It starts with this weekend, second night Seder. We are having a Zoom at 6 p.m. With Congregation Lador Vador, with Rabbis Susie and Steve Moskowitz and Cantors Serena Applebaum and Talia Smilowitz. They will be doing a Seder for us. And I'm sure some of the suggestions that Rabbi just told us will be incorporated. Monday, March 29th, the building is closed. Tuesday, March 30th, Jewish Tangents is canceled. But we pick up again Thursday, April 1st at 7 p.m. will be the third golf lesson in our series with our own pro, Bill Milgram. They've been outstanding. So anybody that's interested in golf, or even if you're just interested in the philosophy of golf, I implore you to join us for that. Friday, April 2nd in the morning, 10:15 is Torah Yoga, and then services are at 6:30 at night. Saturday, April 3rd, 9 a.m. is a Yiska service. And Sunday, April 4th at 11 a.m., a Zoom Move and Eat group. Wednesday, April 7th at 6:30 is a membership committee meeting. Friday, April 9th. So that's a special Shabbat service where we're doing our Yom HaShoah service. It's going to be similar to what we did last year. So anybody that joined us knows how powerful that was. The few things that are going to be part of this one that are similar but a little different, we're featuring grandchildren of survivors. So we have some, but if anybody knows a grandchild of a survivor that's willing to help us out and speak, that would be great. We also have a program after services from Marilyn Shimon, the author of the book, First In, Last Out. So we're also thinking about trying to do an in-person vigil again. We missed it last year, but as things are opening up, we're thinking that maybe watch your emails. Perhaps we can do an in-person vigil like we've done in the past. It won't be an all night and it'll be done safely, but watch your emails for that. Sunday, April 11th, a lot is going on. It starts with 11 a.m. dealing with stress. That's a Zoom. 2 p.m. budding friendships, and at 4 p.m. confirmation class. Monday, April 12th is a 7 p.m. adept program. That's a combo with the Half Hell Hills Library and the New York Historical Society. First Jewish Americans, Freedom and Culture in the New World, and that's by Zoom. And then Wednesday, April 21st, this is important. We're going to have a town hall meeting as we had done prior to us changing our due structure to a commitment to giving. We're going to revisit that and have another town hall meeting with addressing some of those issues again and reintroducing everybody to that concept. And then circular calendars. I usually don't go a couple months out, but this is a big one. This is important. Monday, June 28th, our big golf outing at the Hamlet in Comac. Soon we'll have flyers and everybody will get the details. It's going to be golf. There's going to be a pickleball tournament and likely a mahjong tournament. Lots to eat. It's going to be safe. It's going to be mostly outside. Somebody at the golf committee meeting asked what parts will be outside and inside, and I will guarantee that the golf will be outside. And that is all. Shabbat Shalom all, and Aziz and Pesach.
Thank you so much, Brian. Aziz and Pesach to you. And Cantor, I think we have a Passover themed closing song.
Please do join us for the second night Seder. Jody Siegel will be singing with me. We have a couple of really nice duets planned that I'm excited to sing. But this is hands down my favorite song to sing on Passover. And I figure by next Friday you'll be Passovered out. So I wanted to do it now while we're all still excited about matzah. 1, 2, 3, 4. Ilu hotzianu mi Mitzrayim hotzianu mi Mitzrayim dayin. Everybody now, dayenu, 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 dayenu. Ilu natalanu et hashabbat, natalanu et hashabbat dayenu. louder now. Da-da-inu, 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 da-inu, 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 da-da-inu, 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 da-inu, da-inu.
Oh, great. I'm glad you figured out why I spotlighted you. It wasn't just for the wonderful Amy and Brian, but the little puppy. Eloheinu v'Elohei avotenu v'imotenu, our God and God of our mothers and fathers. Please bless us with a Chag Ha'aviv Sameach, a happy spring holiday, a Chag Pesach Sameach, a Chag HaMatzot Sameach, and may they all come together in a glorious celebration of freedom and liberation for all. And let us say, Amen. Shabbat Shalom.
Shalom,
We
Chag
move our spotlight so we can say hello.